Welcome to the Veronica Edwards Show, where we have fun financial conversations that everyone listening can apply to their personal and professional life. I'm your host, Veronica Edwards, CPA, and today we are back season 6, completely independent, sponsored by Balance Virtually LLC, my accounting and consulting business. As always, I want to thank the V team as we are over 100,000 views across all platforms, which is huge in just a matter of one season. So we are so thankful to our loyal listeners, to all of our guests, and of course, our sponsors. So make sure that you like and subscribe to this page and head over to balancevirtually.com or veronicaedwards.buzzsprout.com, where we had the first few seasons where we were audio only. But today is a very special episode because this guest is not only an entrepreneur, a creative, and a business owner, he is also my husband, Carlos Edwards Jr., the owner of Carlos Edwards Media Group. Welcome to the show, honey. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Good morning and grand rising, all kings and queens out there. Good morning.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be hilarious. So, honey, thank you for joining me. This is a special edition because it's
No
my
problem.
birthday week when this airs. My birthday is May 27th. This is going to be airing on May 28th. So, before we get into marriage, entrepreneurship,
Right.
your business that you've just rebranded, Carlos Edwards Media Group, for those
Oh,
that don't know anything about you, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, what you do, and, what you want us to know about you.
for sure, man. My name is Carlos R. Edwards Jr. Originally, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. Raised there for most of my life. Um, so some things about me. I am an educator. I've been in the education world for the past 2014s, for the past like 12 years, I'd say. I've been teaching now for the past 10 years. Um, overall, uh, I love to stay active, man. I love to go outside, enjoy nature, drive the Jeep off road, uh, biking, eating great food, and just being around, good, positive people overall. And so would you like me to go into detail with like the business or should I just like wait?
Hold on for that. We're gonna,
Okay, for
we're
sure.
gonna tease them a
Yeah.
little bit, but wanted to
Yeah,
make sure that they know that your business is Carlos Edwards Media Group.
for
But
sure.
before we really get into the business,
Hmm.
now we've been married 17 years, and throughout that
Mm,
marriage, you've worked, I've had a business, but this is the first time that you're really
mm.
going 10 toes down in your business. So, what
That is
does
true.
that look like from your perspective now that you're also an entrepreneur? How does that look during stressful seasons, getting started? You're putting a
For
lot
sure.
of sweat equity in, but
For
the
sure.
bank account doesn't always reflect that. So, I know
Yeah.
that we have listeners that can totally relate, or they're a little nervous. I hear a lot of people like, somebody has to have a job,
Hmm.
somebody has to
Hmm.
have a
Hmm.
main W-2. So can you please
Oh
share
yeah.
your experience?
All right. So my experience, is very much so in the infancy, stage, I would say. Yeah. You know, uh, One thing that's really stood out for me is when I think back to when you first started your business. I didn't really understand, why she always going to these networking events? Why she always claiming she got to go out here, go out there, talk to this person, talk to that person, but you're not getting paid, right? And so, in my mind, I was thinking, that's silly. That makes no sense. But now that I'm, you know, putting my all 10 toes down into it, I'm starting to realize that, first and foremost, a lot of times you literally have to plan for the future of income that you can't physically see, but it will come, meaning that you have to plant like those seeds. And planting those seeds involves getting out there, putting your name out there, networking, going to multiple events, hooking up with like great people like the chamber, and just really surrounding yourself with other business owners that could possibly be clients, for you. So you have to put your name out there and put yourself out there because if you don't plant those seeds, If you don't put yourself out there, if you don't rub elbows, if you're not networking, right, well, then you won't really have anyone to really be there to take advantage of what your business has to offer and to be a actual client. And so, to get those fish, you got to go fishing, and so networking is like all a part of that fishing, phase. So that's one of the biggest things that I've like noticed, now that I'm a business owner and I'm really pursuing it. I'm just noticing that, things don't just drop into your lap. You literally have to go out there and get it.
Yeah, you gotta grind. I don't think
Hmm.
people realize how, intentional you have to be with
For sure.
who you network with, who you're around, because like you said, they could be clients, but they're also your partners,
Hmm.
and you definitely, as an entrepreneur, wanna be involved in your community, and I definitely want to shout out the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce.
For sure.
That's where I got my start on radio. I met the great
Hmm.
Matt Matan, who is
Hmm.
going to be on the 200th episode, and it was from a chamber mega networking event. And I know Carlos is currently consulting with the chamber. Shout out to Diana. Love Diana. I
Yeah.
think
Shout
I've heard
out.
the names Jessica that
Yeah.
Carlos has been working with. But
Yeah.
that's what it's all about is yes, we want to make money. Yes, we want to be successful, but it's also
Hmm.
about community. And if you support your community will support you.
For
So,
sure.
it all sounds good. We're saying all the right stuff, but we also know it could be stressful.
Oh yeah.
So,
For
to
sure.
put you on the spot, Carlos, what would you say is something that is very stressful now that you're an entrepreneur, but also something that is valuable, something that you're like, "Hey, I didn't have this when I was working a traditional job."
Okay. Something that is stressful, obviously is not seeing income come in. When you have guaranteed job, you got guaranteed paycheck, you got guaranteed hours, and you plan off of that guaranteed check every month or every other week, right? So as a business owner, it can be frustrating, going out there networking, pursuing leads, following up, leads that you've gained through networking, only to have, those doors kind of close on you or those people not respond or you just losing, within contact with them, so that could be frustrating at times. Um, and then you said the positive, I guess, or
Yes.
the positive I would say is that you're meeting so many people, right? And you never know who knows who. And one thing that I will say about Asheville is that Asheville is the smallest melting pot city I've ever been in. You have people from the West Coast, Cali, Oregon. You have people
Mhm,
from up top, BK, New York, Manhattan, Boston, Philly. Um, you have people from like the deep South, Texas, Florida. So you have so many, people that are from everywhere and they're all business owners.
mhm.
And so the positive is that you get to surround yourself and really rub elbows with people that have a lot of contacts, a lot of people that they know on multiple levels, right? And so even though Asheville on paper and by the numbers, people look at it and they're like, oh, it's just a little town. Well, Asheville technically has the third busiest airport within this state, right? And so a lot of
Wow.
tourists come here, a lot of people come here. A lot of retirees have moved here. And so those are again opportunities, for you to actually get, clients. And Asheville is very much so business friendly. And so they're willing to really like help you, to really form like those right contacts and really hook you up with the right people to start your business. And so that I love.
Absolutely. I tell people I couldn't imagine starting my business anywhere else other than Asheville. And we've lived in Milwaukee, we lived in
Hmm.
Greenville, we lived in
For sure.
Charlotte. So this is actually the smallest city that we've lived in since we've been
Hmm.
married. But it just kind of wrapped its arms around us, Asheville, especially when it comes to nonprofit business as
Hmm.
well as for profit.
Hmm.
So, we've been in Asheville, Carlos. I don't know if you can believe this, 10 years. We
Oh,
moved
yeah.
here back in 2016 when CJ
Mhm.
was only 1 years old. Now he's about to be 11 years old.
Yeah,
Also, we've lost some family members. My sister's
yeah.
passed away, my dad's passed away. We have aging
Mhm,
parents. So now with us growing in our
mhm.
relationship and also growing when it comes to our business,
Uh-huh.
how do you balance being a husband and a father, a
For sure.
son, a business owner, especially with all these different seasons that we're going through in life?
Oh, man, heavy is the head that wears the crown, you know what I mean? But strong are the neck and shoulders that actually support it, right? And so, for me, I would say that, being, married to a entrepreneur to a small business owner, having family, son, parents aging, things like that. Is it a challenge? I mean, for sure it is. It's not easy, but I think the key is that you have to have a very strong support system, right? Like you have to have caring family, friends, and you have to surround yourself with just positive people. But then also, I think like for me mentally, and then spiritually having like a relationship with God, it really helps keep me grounded. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Because, so many times it's like I tell myself, man, I can't be the spiritual priest of the household if I'm not leading out like the right way. And so, I like to start, off every day with just like prayer. And then I'll try to find time to like open up that word, read it, and gain something positive from it, and then take it with me throughout the day. And then also just I try to maintain and have a positive mindset, even in the midst of stress and just craziness that does happen around me. I try to just, stay calm and stay positive. Sometimes or some days you know, I I do it well. Other days not so good, but it helps having, a partner that does understand you. Um, Shout out to Veronica, and
That will
so
be me. Yes.
most definitely. And so, it helps a lot, man. And then I guess like a misconception that I think a lot of people have when they think about like being married, having like your own business, and then your partner has their own business. The misconception is the only way for it to work is you both have to be doing it together 100% in the same field. And with that, I would say that's not true, because, as much as I love money and numbers and all like that, right? I'm not a accountant, and vice versa. My part. Well, I mean, she, I will say, you have turned into quite the educator yourself. You know what I mean? But one thing that I like though is that even though we're different and our businesses are very much so different, and our clients and who we reach and all like that. I think the core principles and the values are the same, right? Honesty,
Yes.
um, integrity, you know, having like high quality work, being focused. If we say that we're
Mhm.
going to do something, we do it and we do it well. And so, those are things that kind of help us to kind of bounce off of each other. I mean, there's some times where you came to me for like ideas or just like questions. And there's some times, of course, that, I come to you and I have ideas and then I have questions. And we both kind of meet each other where we're at and we just go from there, man. So hopefully that kind of
Yes.
answered the whole question. Hopefully.
That absolutely did. And I actually want to transition right into Carlos Edwards Media Group. I don't know
Oh
if you
man,
can
look at that fly
see.
down right there.
This
Wow.
is
Clean.
Carlos's website, carlosedwards.com. And we did some rebranding earlier this year because initially we set up
Want me
this
to do it?
website. Yes, Carlos released a Christmas EP back in 2023,
For
and this
sure.
was more about just on the music side, and then we started
Yeah.
thinking about it, and good friends, look at this, these services, good friend to us is Counterflow. I wanna make sure, and Ben
Right.
Studios that, helped us with this website, and so now,
Yeah.
hun, you have live music, you have hosting, you have speaking
Yeah.
engagements. So
For sure.
again, I would love for you to share how you kind of pivot to wanting to just round out your services more than just music, but event hosting, emceeing, speaking, mentoring. So, who are your ideal clients? What services? I know you're still in the infancy, but what
Mhm.
do you see for Carlos Edwards Media Group?
So pivoting from, going from like music to going into like music and hosting and emceeing and just leading out panels, and things like that. Um, Shout out to Goodwill. I had the opportunity there to kind of help out with their own podcast and to kind of invite guests and kind of
Career
host that.
Quest. Mhm,
Right. Shout out to them.
mhm.
Jody, I see you. And
Yes.
yeah, man. And we had, fun kind of inviting guests in and asking them questions and kind of having like that podcast kind of studio kind of in-house feel. And then, honestly, just like growing up within church and just always being, up front, leading out when it came to singing and when it came to praise, worship, when it came to leading out, panels within church, I would do programs, and things like that. And so, I kind of took those talents and those gifts and then transitioned them into, okay, let's make it more, business like. Let's make it for events to where it could be job fairs. It can be events that certain nonprofits are doing, fundraisers that I can like help out in, that I can like host in, that I can be a actual MC. A lot of times people don't realize, man, like if you want to set the atmosphere, if you want to set the mood, right? Like you have to have a person that can get up front, that can read the room, and that can communicate with everyone out there, make everyone feel like they are a part, make them feel special, right? Whenever people go to certain events, whether it be fundraisers, um, nonprofits, job fairs, you name it, right? You
Mhm.
want to be able to go in there and feel like, hey, I belong. I want to be here. And who's that up front? And oh man, this person is charismatic. They have a positive mindset. They have this awesome energy that they bring that just attracts people, right? And so for me, I like to take those gifts and put it into those lanes, right? Those lanes being emceeing, hosting, music, and just unite people, bring them together within a room, lead out panels, and just make them feel good. And so, shout out to the chamber. That was my first actual kind of like paying, I guess, gig under Carlos Edwards Media Group.
Congratulations.
Um, Diana Blackett, she's just a valuable asset over there. And
Love
she
Diana.
basically kind of like reached out to me and she was like, man, I remember working with you via through Goodwill. And we just love your whole energy. We love the way you just presented certain things and how you hosted certain events over there. And we have this upcoming job fair that we would love, for you to just go out there, host it, and just help us out. And I did it. They loved it. Shout out to them. And that's kind of open up, future, doors with them. And that's kind of what I want to do, man. I mean, musically, of course, I'm always in the booth, somehow, some way, whether it be singing up front or just, recording. And I want to do some more of that. And so that's like another lane. And then I guess the last part, just like close it out quickly because I know I've just been talking, talking, talking. But like, um, overall, man, again, I see myself as the hostess with the mostest, the guy that can do 1,001 things. The Black Dick Clark, I'm trying to really,
Pause.
pause, pause, shout out,
Yes.
pause. But no, I'm trying to really just bring and just create, just positivity and just good
Mhm.
times whenever I had that opportunity to be up front. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you touched a lot on the emceeing and the music, but on the education side,
Oh
you
yeah, yeah,
are
yeah, for sure.
you're certified middle school science and history. We're
Hmm.
seeing in Asheville, especially more schools doing hybrid,
For sure.
homeschool, um, in person. So I think that's opened up another lane for you too to provide some part-time education services where you could explain some more that you're providing some of these services to the local schools in the area.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Shout out to AB Tech. Currently right now, that's one of the jobs I have. AB Tech, I am a adjunct. This is my third time around. You know, always leave and then come back to AB Tech. This time, like I told him, I said, I'm not going nowhere, man. I'm staying this time. And so um when it comes to education, right, you know, one of the biggest things that I've noticed, not only as a educator, as a teacher in the classroom, right? But then just talking with various friends that also teach, man, teachers need a break, right? Teachers need
Sure
time
do.
throughout the day to be able to kind of disconnect themselves from their classroom and just have a woosah moment, have time to just relax, relate, release, right?
Period.
And so that's where I come in. You know, I see myself as being that individual that can go into a classroom, provide teachers with a true relief, but still at the same time, either lead out instruction or work one-on-one with certain students that may need that extra time. They may need that extra, work in terms of pulling them out, putting them within a more closed environment so that they can have that one-on-one instruction, so that they can go over content and go over, certain information that they were learning in class, but still have that time to actually understand what they're learning, because
Mhm.
kids learn differently. Some kids are visual, some kids are auditory, I mean, some kids, I mean, hands on. And so within a classroom that has like 25 kids in it, it's
Yeah.
hard to really, at times, so many teachers feel like, man, I know that everyone in this classroom doesn't understand what I'm teaching, but because I have a set outline, a set schedule, I got to move on. And so for those students that need that extra time, and that needs to get caught up or that just need that extra help, I'm there, man. I'm there. And so I'm providing services, like that. I'm also providing services in terms of helping out when it comes to students that are looked at as being at risk or um, behavioral problematic students, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, I have a lot of experience dealing with students, that come from environments that's, not the most optimal.
Right.
Shout out to Elida Holmes. I worked there for about 2 years. And I know how it is to be working with students one on one, and they just need time to just again relax, relate, release. Kids go through trauma, they go through stress as well, and so many times it's hard for them to really explain themselves when it comes to certain things, and so they act out. And so I can work with them to kind of help model behaviors that are positive and that can help them to articulate themselves in a appropriate manner when they return in the classroom.
Honey, thank you so much for your insight in regards to your education arm of your services.
Sure.
And I would love, before we go, again, for you to just share how people can get in touch with you, how they can see you. I know you're going to be at a lot of networking events this summer, but please let the listeners know how we can support Carlos Edwards Media Group.
For sure, man. Well, first and foremost, if you go on my website at www.carlosedwards.com, feel free if you want to, connect with me. Just click on the contact, link and just fill out said info. You can always reach me. You can email me at edwardsjr2024 at gmail.com. Um, you can find me online. You can find me on LinkedIn. Of course, shout out to them. You can find me on Facebook, on the gram. You can find me, man. In terms of,
Absolutely.
future events coming up, there's quite a few chamber events coming up this summer. I don't want to give too much information because we're we're still laying out, certain
Hmm.
things, but there are some chamber events that I will be helping out with in the very near future this summer. Also, AB Tech, if you are trying to go back to school, and you have questions or concerns or whatever the case may be, man, you can reach out to me at AB Tech. I am an adjunct out there. Also, when it comes to just again, I mean, if you just see me out and about, you see myself, or if you see my wife, of course, feel free, ask questions.
Look for the red
I'm
glasses.
look for the red glasses. I'm very much open book. And so you can just talk to me, man.
Yay. Well, honey, thank you so much because this
Yeah,
conversation was special. It reminds people that entrepreneurship is not just business, it's real life. Behind
for
every
sure.
business owner is a real person, and we're navigating our relationships, family, stress,
Hmm.
growing, all that fun stuff. So, thank you so much,
No
honey, for
problem.
joining me today, being willing to have an honest conversation, which
Yeah.
leads us to Carlos conversations. We haven't even talked about that. That's another
Conversations with
um,
Carlos.
I always want to say Carlos Conversations,
I know that's
Conversations
all
with
good.
Carlos.
Conversations with Carlos.
That
Yeah.
is going to be coming soon on YouTube and on
Hmm.
social media. But again, thank you everyone for tuning into the Veronica Edwards Show. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, so you don't miss an episode. And until next time, stay balanced and financially savvy.